Slade Wilson! The Mirakuru. There's a cure.
Arrow Season 2 is fantastic. That's something that's hard to deny. But when it comes to the season's back half, there's a lot that needs to be established, and not a lot of time to do it. We need to make sure the audience knows how Mirakuru's mind control works, introduce and make the cure in the present day, and give Slade an army. And these are just the major bullet points. I haven't even gotten into the stuff involving Argus, Malcolm Merlin, the League of Assassins, the development of Moira Queen, the prison on Lian Yu, Oliver and Amanda Waller's first meeting in the flashbacks. There's so much that the season still needs to do, and if there's only one thing that The Flash has proven in the last few years, it's that it's probably best to space out those plot elements so they don't feel rushed or shoehorned in. And unfortunately, this is one of those episodes that tries to introduce too many plot elements too quickly. This episode has the Herculean task of introducing the Mirakuru cure, giving Slade an army, pushing Thea into Malcolm's arms, dealing with the fallout of Laurel knowing Oliver's secret, and reminding Oliver that his father wasn't the man he thought he was. And while the episode appears to be able to handle the load, you have to admit that from the third act onwards, it struggles to stick the landing. There's a lot of continuity, past and future, that's talked about in this episode, whether it's the Robert Queen Applied Sciences Center, the Skeleton Key, Thea acknowledging this moment with Tommy from Legacies, or whatever Caitlin appears to be dealing with in the wake of the particle accelerator explosion. This episode is packed with callbacks and references. Through Thea's subplot, the episode kinda makes Isabel Roshev's age questionable, and I wanted to do the math on that because I clearly have too much time on my hands. If we assume Isabel is the same age as Summer Glau, the actress that plays her, and I do have to say assume since characters aren't always the same age as the actors playing them, Isabel would have been 20 at the time of her affair with Robert Queen. Then again, that assumes that Thea broke her arm in 2006 at the age of 11, which is only ever established in a tie-in novel with questionable canonicity. Point is, the affair between Isabel and Robert Queen is totally plausible, and Summer Glau looked a lot younger than 32 in Arrow Season 2, god damn. Why on God's green earth would Star Labs ever need to make the Blood Splitter? No, that's not what it's actually called, but seriously. The episode never gives a reason for this device even existing, and it's a major piece of technology that helps Slade amass his army. So it only exists, say it with me now folks, because the plot says so. Also, suddenly there's a serum that can revert people injected with Mirakuru back to human, and holy shit do I have problems with this. So not only was Ivo unable to recreate the Mirakuru serum, but he somehow, without ever having gotten to actually test the Mirakuru on someone on board the freighter, fell ass backwards into making a serum that neutralizes Mirakuru's effects. Excuse me, but how the fuck does that make sense? And by the way, the solution to all of the season's problems is just sitting there out in the open. For some reason that I'll never understand, there's just a vial of Mirakuru sitting on the back of the Blood Splitter. The thing they need to make the Mirakuru cure is just sitting there, waiting for Oliver to pocket it.
God, that's lazy writing.
Also this.
What the fuck? Why did Oliver stop keeping those in his bow?
While these conveniences don't necessarily impact the plot of this episode, which aside from the appearance of the Blood Splitter is fairly solid, it does impact the rest of the season, and as this is the episode that introduces those elements, I'm docking this episode's plot by a few points. This episode really says a lot about the journeys Quentin and Laurel have been on throughout the season. Quentin started as a cop who wanted to bring a vigilante to justice, and has since learned that that vigilante might have a family just like him. And for that reason, he stopped caring about who was behind the mask and was more than willing to do a stint in Iron Heights for him. And once Laurel learns that, it suddenly doesn't matter to her anymore that Oliver's the Arrow. Oliver's still a person with people he cares about, just like Sarah is. And she recognizes that they're both going through some shit right now and doesn't need to add anything more to their plates. The Laurel in this season is a far cry from the annoying Laurel from Season 1. It's probably because a lot of the characters have actually done some growing up in between seasons. In Season 1, they were young adults, but they've now been thrust forward and had to grow up and mature a lot in a short amount of time. though that's a topic for another video. Every other member of Team Arrow is well within their personalities this week, as are Slade and Isabel. And come on, how can you not instantly love Cisco and Caitlin? There's just enough banter and personality between them that you get excited for them to show up on The Flash, but not so much that you feel like there's nothing to look forward to. I honestly forgot they showed up in this episode until I saw their names in the opening credits. The one sticking point here might be Thea. Yeah, she's a bit petulant in the episode, but you gotta remember that her entire world just got upended the week before. It's intensely petty of her to not sign those documents so her family can retain some of their assets, but the secret that was kept from Thea isn't just a typical, you didn't tell me you're a superhero, wah 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 secret. Just like how she didn't go to Iron Heights to see Moira in the premiere, she's doing it to be blatantly hurtful to the people that just turned her whole life upside down. The whole scene with Roy hooked up to the blood splitter is shot like something out of a horror film. Seeing him hooked up to that machine with all those cots surrounding him is extremely eerie, as is the shot of Slade opening Isabel's eyes at the end of the episode. When Felicity learns about Iris, you can just see the light go out from behind her eyes. It's a very small moment in the episode, but I gotta give credit to Emily Bett Rickards for that. Non-verbal acting like that is hard to pull off. Oh, and you know that shot from Blind Spots earlier in the season? Yeah, well, here's another one.
Oliver did. Oh, he shot him twice.
When the show kills major and even minor characters via gun, they make that shit impactful. It's also worth noting that during the previously on sequence, as well as the cuts when Laurel has flashbacks, that there is some new footage not used in the previous episode. It's also not hard to tell that this shot of Oliver walking gets reused a few seconds later. This is another can't miss episode in the season. The episode's ending aside, it's still a very engaging watch. If you went the entire episode without being able to smile, you're lying to yourself. Sure, there's some stupid shit here and there, but this is still Arrow Season 2 we're talking about. Even the stupid shit is bound to keep your attention. Even the season's least good episodes have good moments and things that can keep you engaged. Despite this episode going balls to the walls with plot, almost overloading on it at times, the writers are still able to make a very engaging episode out of one that's very exposition heavy, and if anything, that just speaks to their talent and dedication to their work.
I am stronger than you can even imagine, and soon I will not be alone.